What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blast Beats. I'm Zachary Nur, your host, along with my two co-hosts here today, Chris Spooner and Radical Larry. How you guys doing today?
Doing good, Zach. Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's been an interesting little. We keep saying we're back and hiatuses. I do have good news. For those of you who have kept up with us throughout this journey. I am moving into a new apartment in the middle of February, which means the content grind is coming your way hard. Written, podcasts, everything. We're gonna be grinding it out, but I'm not gonna forget about our man Larry. How you doing, man?
I'm just so excited to be back. Hopefully, my mic works this time. I don't know what's going on, but this is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. We have so much news, so much music, an incredible start to the year with some fantastic albums, some fantastic announcements for concerts and tours and festivals. It's all kicking off right now. It's amazing. It's great. There is also, with all this great news, there is the fact that we will also talk about Every Time I Die because that came out of well, I say came out of nowhere, but it sounds like there was already some struggles like
hmm
dating back a little bit. I was not aware because I wasn't really into them. I really just got like super duper duper hyped when Radical came out, which makes that album a little more interesting.
Yeah, a little bit. It's really kind of interesting to look at how good that album was and kind of realize what they were going through, may have been going through while recording it, and to see it all kind of fall apart. 6 months or whatever after such a banger of an album came out.
Yeah, and it's a really touchy subject because we're touching on the subject of sobriety because that's really what's pushing this between, and I mean it's family drama too because it's between brothers, Jordan and Keith. Keith has gone into sobriety for, I mean, various of positive reasons. There's been countless examples of various musicians and singers and art and drummers, guitarists, band members, everybody that is associated in the scene who have talked about the damages that alcohol and drugs can have on them as they're going about their day-to-day lives. And while some people can control it, some people can't. It's a wide mix. Um, but you can't knock somebody's like push that if they've noticed that this is an issue and they push that thing to sobriety, that's what they have to do. Um, so it gets very interesting because you can't knock Keith, but you also sit there and wonder like why are they going so hard at him for something that he probably needed to do. But that's where we don't know. We don't really, we can't get into everything. We don't really know.
Yeah, there's got to be something there behind the scenes that we're not privy to because, like you said, on the surface, it seems like four guys coming at one guy for trying to do what he needs to do to stay sober, and
Yeah,
that's on the surface, that's something that's kind of shitty.
and there is also the fact that, going into sobriety after being on and depending on some of those substances cannot be pretty. I mean, the withdrawal process is very difficult. So you get a wide range of emotions from people. But it's very interesting because it's also not necessarily a topic that is new to music because there's been a lot of instances for artists that I have listened to in the past where they have made moves to either go to therapy to cure depression or stopped using certain substances or drugs or alcohol, and like fans backlash on them because like in turn their music changes and they're like, oh my gosh, your music was better when you were on drugs. And it's like, how can you sit there and be that kind of like to have that sort of, to even push that idea. um but it because it some of that, sometimes that spawns good things in music but not good things for people,
Right.
and it's good for entertainment. And sometimes we forget it in sports, we forget it in music, we forget it in TV and movies that, like, yes, this is all for entertainment purposes, but at the end of the day, we are humans, and those people who are making the art are humans as well. And you have to also be looking out for the well-being of them as well. It's not just for us to continuously take and eat and feed on. but yeah, it was very interesting and sad news. And I mean, personally, I really don't think with the degree of how you're talking family drama, and especially of what it seems to be involving, I don't think we're really going to be seeing any sort of reunions with Every Time I Die. Um,
Yeah, it's I kind of get that same vibe too, which is really unfortunate because just from a music standpoint, that album I loved that album. It was one of my favorite albums of last year, and they were gearing up for going out on tour. Coming up in a couple of months, I had tickets to go see them in Spirit Box in March out in Chicago. So kind of selfishly wondering what's going to happen with that.
yeah, so I mean, I wonder is Spirit Box going to I mean, was it a joint tour?
It was Every Time I Die was the headliner. Spirit Box was opening, or
Ooh.
sorry, Every Time I Die and Under Oath co-headline, and
Oh, okay,
Spirit
okay,
Box
okay.
was the opener.
Interesting. So, I mean, Under Oath can pull somebody onto
Yeah,
that card. Yeah. Speaking of Under Oath, that album,
I haven't listened to that album yet, actually.
I gave it a listen that night when it came out, and I loved it. I haven't really dug that deep into the well of Under Oath
Hmm.
because it's just one of those bands that's escaped me. Um, but I that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
You can't see this, but Zach's cheesing his ass off right
Oh
now.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was it. I was just laying in bed. I was a little drunk. Um, not 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 drunk. I wasn't drunk, but yeah, it was a good album. It was a good album.
Yeah, it's
I,
it's it's on my list, but it's not one that I've gotten to yet. There were three albums that kind of occupied most of my Friday and Saturday listening. So
yeah,
To
uh,
this day, same for me.
yeah,
let's get
It's the
into
same three, same three.
let's get into those a little bit. Let's get into those a little bit. I want to hear that from you guys.
yeah. So for me, the big three, and I think for Larry too, um, were the releases from Shadow of Intent, Enterprise Earth, and Fit for an Autopsy.
Oh yes.
Three
Oh my god.
massive deathcore bands in the scene today, and three massive albums.
Last year I said it was the year of death metal. There was a massive resurgence and just emergence of all these great young death metal bands, and a couple titans like Cannibal Corpse dropping another album. But like this year, if I'm hoping, be the year of deathcore because those were three haymakers. I've already got Fit for an Autopsy. It's I sound like an idiot, but like album of the year front runner right now, and we're 2 weeks in. But whatever.
I'm absolutely right there with you. For me, I still can't decide whether I liked Fit for an Autopsy or Enterprise Earth's release more. They're I I've got a little spreadsheet of everything that I've been listening to since November. I started it, and they're my two highest rated albums since I started keeping track and
Yep.
rating them. I've got them both at a 9.5. And for comparison, last year I would have given a 10 to Costalum, and I would have given a 10 to Kin, and that's about it. So these are right up there with them.
Now, I saw somebody say this, and it didn't hit me. It was their first single, Fit for an Autopsy's first single, Far From Heaven, and it came out like earlier, like November, December, something like that.
Hmm.
And I liked the single when it came out. I thought nothing of it. I was like, yeah, great song. Can't wait for the album. And then somebody on Twitter said they just out Gojira with that song. And then I heard it again, and I go, holy shit. This is the Gojira motif. This is exactly what Gojira does with their formula, and it sounded great. Did you guys pick that up?
That was the first thing that I thought of when I initially heard that first single was they, for lack of a better term, and to steal it, yeah, they out Gojira. It was in that same model, and they kind of did it better, which is feels a little blasphemous to say with how much people really dig the Gojira sound, but
Yeah.
I fucking loved it. It was amazing. I wasn't really feeling the next single, Two Towers. But now that I've heard it on the album, it flows with the flow of the album, and I like it a lot more than I did as a standalone single. But just front to back, that entire album just kicked my ass. I loved it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to those yet. It's been a very weird week. Because we've been getting peppered by snow, like on
Good.
the daily. And I mean, I love it because I know what I'm doing, but the majority of the people in my area do not know what they're doing. So like there's nothing in the grocery stores. People are like, we got the problem was the first one that hit us, nobody was expecting it, and it was really bad. Like, and like and when I say really bad, like my area got like a foot and a half, and that's like enough to like get school out for the week. um
Yeah.
so I went into Weiss, which is one of our local grocery stores, the next day, and I was trying to get like just like a couple things, I just a couple little snacks. I'd be fine. The rest of what I had was I was good at home. And this couple in front of me in the self checkout, and by the way, if you do this, I just want to let you know, I am behind you, just giving you the evilest of eyes. In the self checkout with $207 worth of groceries. On
Jeez.
top of that, they did not understand the weight process of the bagging, that you need to place the items in the bagging area after you scan them, so it
Hmm.
weighs the fact that you put them in there, and after every single item, please place your item in the bagging. What? Why isn't this working? What the heck? I was just like, oh my god! Like,
Capital
if
punishment.
you have more than 10 to 15 items, please go to somebody who can check your things, because
Capital
you don't
punishment.
know what you're doing. You don't. I promise you, $207 is too much. So, but that's the problem. So it snowed. They get everybody scared, and then everybody goes and freaks out, buys out all the grocery stores. Like there was no bread whatsoever. Like people had bought up every single thing of like potato bread. There was nothing. Nothing. And then now we're just getting hit every single week, every single weekend with a storm. So now the news is like, "Oh, we're going to get snow again." And then they're like, "Oh no, everybody run back out and buy more stuff." And it makes work hell. I made 7 beefsteak classics within, like, 5 minutes. Some dude came in and ordered 3, another came in and ordered 4 for them. That's it. They ate them all. I was
Are
just
their
like
eyes a little red?
just like, "What?" No, 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 they were on their way to work. They had just woken up and they're like, "Yeah, man, I'm just picking up some subs." And I'm just like, "Yeah, bet you are. Bet you are." Nah, it's crazy out there. But the music keeps me going. And but you'll be surprised. I literally get the only thing that I get to do is I get to sit there and like just like keep my AirPod in, and it's amazing right now because my hearing. Oh, I haven't told you this update. I'm pretty sure my hearing issues are a post symptom of having COVID.
Damn.
Yes, I have been looking into some things, and they're basically all my symptoms just to the T, like fit all of that in. So I have told everybody at work consistently. I'm like, hey, my ears don't work. Do not ask me a question unless you're standing right next to me. However, I also put one of my AirPods in almost at all times because I'm not going to sit there and listen to the awful music selection. I am going to be able to listen to my hip hop, to my metal, to my freaking post hardcore, metalcore, all of that, because I don't want to listen to the garbage that is on. They play some good songs every now and then, but the mostly garbage. Um, and they be asking me questions from across the store, and I'm like, I can't hear you. My ears don't work.
Zach's been sitting on this for a while.
Every time I come into work,
Go.
and they look at me like from
Go.
across the store, and they're like, and I'm like, hold on, walk over there. Hey, my ears don't work. Ask me now. I can't hear you. Like they don't like it's like they don't register the fact that yeah, they have music running. There's like 50 people in here. The blenders are running. People are making sandwiches. beepers are going off everywhere because like for some reason everything has to beep at a freaking gas station, just like everything. Like
Listeners at home, he just put on a bandana and he pulled out a Bowie knife.
I'm like, you have no idea. I'm so like, I won't even get into the even more politics of why I'm about to just oh, I'm so angry at work right now because they are just screwing me. And like they haven't even taken me out to dinner. I have to make people dinner and they're not even taking me out to one. It's so bad. So when I move into my apartment, job search is imminent. Job search is imminent unless they give me a substantial raise when I finally get to talk to my GM, because I was going to talk to him this morning, but he was conveniently not there.
Convenient.
Convenient. I would another another communication issue, because apparently he traded shifts with somebody last week but didn't cross it off. So I was like, oh, he's gonna be there when I'm clocking off. He's coming in to relieve me. No, somebody else, which I don't mind, but cross it off. Like, don't get me all gassed up for the whole shift and get all ready, and then I'm like sitting there and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, he's not coming in today. I'm like, what? I Y'all just got me heated for nothing. so it'll have to wait, and I'll keep you guys posted because it's coming. But yeah, as I
The
said,
music keeps you going.
the music keeps me going and it keeps me fueled, and like you get those good riffs and those breakdowns, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one. Like that office door is heavy, and I intend for it to swing a little hard. Like it's gonna make a good sound when that thing shuts. I'm excited, but and I don't want to sound like in a bad way that I'm excited, because this is not healthy behavior in the slightest. I'm just somebody who this is the camel's back has broken after far too many straws have been put on that you thought were like, yeah, that one's gonna break it. No, the camel kept going. And it's finally just gotten to this this eruption volcano. Like I am Yellowstone right now. I am the volcano under Yellowstone right now. It's time. So anyways,
Sing it, brother.
is there any interesting new stuff coming out that we should be keeping our eyes peeled on? Outside of rock and metal, I am anxiously awaiting the arrival of 2 Chainz's new album. That he just was like, he literally hopped on Twitter one day and was like, hey guys, it's been a while, by the way, I'm dropping an album this month, see you soon. And I was just like, okay. But it's been, like I said, it's been kind of weird this month, so I've been a little out of touch with everything that's been coming out to an extent. I know of some things. For some reason I just had Skillet being thrown at me, and I'm like, I haven't listened to Skillet since I was a junior in high school. Why now?
Well, they've been making a lot of headlines lately.
Interesting.
That
Good
was
or
Not for
bad?
good reasons.
skipped.
Good reasons.
So.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, Spoon, why don't you get us started with the news? With the new stuff.
The one that I woke up to today was that thrash metal band Extinction AD.
I love those guys so much.
Yeah, they announced that they're dropping a full-length album, which has me really hyped because their CCCP EP from last year blew me away. Fucking loved it. Absolutely
Incredible.
great. One of my favorite EPs of the year. So I'm really hyped to get a full-length album from them.
I think those guys, right now, I think metal is starving for good new thrash, and they are the epitome of good new thrash. I just think they have got the perfect tone. Everything they write chugs, it punches you right in the face. The vocals match very well. I freaking love these guys. And they're hilarious. I heard them on another podcast, not to shout them out, but my friends, the Thrash Report, they had them on their show, and these guys got stories for days, touring with Kerry King. Kerry King's an asshole, busting Jonathan Davis's balls of corn. These guys are just awesome. They'll talk to you on Twitter. They've got it going on. I am so happy and so pumped for Extinction AD.
Yeah,
be
that's one of my most anticipated albums, already, and I just heard of it today. So I'm super stoked for that to come out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Loudwire because we always I always pull up the release calendar, and I'm not really seeing much that I catch off eye coming up in the next couple weeks. Personally, um, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of the bands that I've been listening to and that I've heavily listened to really released a lot of stuff last year.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see who is releasing that I'm not really keying in on. There's a couple of pop punk bands and like harder easycore bands that are due for a release. I feel like that I haven't heard from in a while. The Story So Far should be releasing something soon. Um, there's also a couple of metalcore bands that you know I'm sorry, until they actually give me something of substantial like substance, like substantial substance,
Substantial substance, bitches.
until they give me some actual
We've been
substance
working.
of something. Pierce the Veil has nothing. I don't care what Vic Fuentes says, they have nothing, and they have kept me on this hook for like freaking 5 years. They're like, oh, it's coming soon. Oh, I promise you, we have new music coming, but it's not coming. And something we will talk about later. They're going to be at a very, 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 very big festival in October, and if they have not released a new song by then, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed.
I gotta think with the concert announcement, there's gonna be
They
something
have
coming.
to. Well, we say this, but I was also 100% convinced that by this time Kendrick Lamar would have released something for an album release with his halftime show coming up at the Super Bowl. But there's
Top of the morning,
been
top of the morning,
nothing.
top of the morning.
Well, yes, but that was Baby Keem's album. But he's released nothing of his own material, and I'm sitting here like, you have a golden opportunity. Even The Weeknd did it. Even The Weeknd was like, I have a Super Bowl halftime show. I am massive already, but let me go ahead and do an album so I can like put all that in there. There's nothing.
Well,
And
I
so
don't
now
think I don't think that's how Kendrick works because we're talking about a guy that is perfectly happy riding off into the sunset and just being family man under the radar.
I know, but he's got one more. I know he's got one
I hope he's
more.
got 10 more in him.
He's got one more for Top Dog. He's got one
Yep,
more for just
to his
Top Dog,
contract.
and then they're gonna go crazy on PG Lang. Um, but that's where I sit here and like it's not like I can sit here in front and be like, oh, he hasn't been releasing anything because he's on a standard release cycle for him. Pierce the Veil just dropped off the face of the planet. They were huge and still, I mean, to an extent, still are. They still have a very strong backing, but they just stopped at like pretty much their height. They released Collide with the Sky. Misadventures was great, and then bye. Just the fade off, the Homer fade into the hedges, and they haven't done anything since. The only thing that's happened since is they kicked out Vic's brother very recently due to some legal issues, which is such an it happens so often. I'm just like, what the hell, guys? Like, just freaking follow, like be good people. It's not hard. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, that'll be interesting. So I'm sitting here and there's some bands and I'm like, yeah, they definitely should be releasing, but until they actually do something, I'm not gonna sit here and hope for it anymore because I'm tired of keeping hopes up and just
Let me
being
ask
let down.
let me ask you guys this. Do you think we talked a little bit about it in the group chat. Do you
Oh
think we're
wait,
going to
Slipknot.
get well, that's been confirmed.
Yeah, I forgot
Uh,
about that.
Follow up Korn's also confirmed February 4th. Do you think Ghost is coming out with new music this year?
They
I
didn't. They
I
released that single at Halloween.
Yeah, they've
For the Halloween movie.
Oh, so it was for a movie?
yeah,
Okay, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it was for the Halloween movie. Okay.
yeah. But
Uh,
they've released that song. They've got a tour coming up with Volbeat. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
I
I gotta think something is coming up this year.
I agree. I
it
also
just gets
recall
it,
listening.
it's
What's
just
that?
gets interesting because they're not one of those bands who necessarily, and like we talked, as you just said with Kendrick, we're not. I don't feel like Ghost is necessarily one of those bands that just because they have a tour, they have to release something. They can release something if they want to in the middle of like doing nothing, and it's gonna go off no matter what. Because everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's Ghost." um,
I also remember listening. This was several years ago. After they did their last album prequel in 2000. It was Jesus Christ, really? It was in 2018. I
Yeah.
remember listening
I'm not surprised.
to Octane, shout out Grant Random, and he said he got word that Ghost wasn't going to come out with a new album until 2021. And then obviously 2021 came and went. I'd have to think the pandemic threw a monkey wrench into that.
Oh
But
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
based on just that, I have to think something's coming out this year.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some now that I sit back and think about it, and now that you say Corn and Skillet, or not Skillet, we said
Slipknot.
Slipknot. Gosh, oh, I feel ashamed right now.
He's now putting on
Um,
face paint.
uh, um, in with all this new metal, maybe it could be the year of new metal.
I'd be totally okay with that. Tetrarch came out and kicked everyone's ass last year. I love it.
Yeah,
Get
the
a Limp
Tetrick
Bizkit
album
record.
was great. There were new metal influences in the Slaughter to Prevail album that came out.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I would be totally fine with a new metal revival. I
Oh,
dug it
that
when
would be
it came
great.
out the first time.
I think
Yes.
I think we're finally at a point that it can be appreciated. Um, I don't think it'll be as it'll get as much as bad of a treatment this time around as the first go around. Um,
Well, I think their largest base have now become taxpayers, so we get a little bit of the say.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly,
It's no longer just
exactly.
grumpy death metal heads with their silver beards. We got
And
caves
even
and
better,
basements.
those dudes who are making the music are even older than that now. They have an even bigger claim.
Exactly.
Boom. Oh man, I freaking love new metal. I freaking love new metal.
It's what I grew up on, so yeah, it's always gonna have a soft spot in my heart.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So with new music, that means we were also talking about some new festivals and some new shows. And we've been spinning the gears in the chats here about some shows. Possibly doing a little blast beats, like what
Meet
did we
up
call it? Meetup, blast beats
on
takeover
location.
on location. What was the one that we did have?
Parkway Drive.
I think yeah, it was the
Yeah,
Parkway Drive one.
Whoa!
Yes, Parkway Drive, Hatebreed, the Black Dahlia Murder, and Stick to Your Guns. Which it's so wild because if you had shown me this list when I was a junior in high school, because that was when I was getting into all this music, I would have told you the Black Dahlia Murder was the most popular band of those four
Really?
I mean, probably at that time, yeah.
at that time. So like, I mean, we're talking like, so what? Pretty much 10 years ago. So yeah, 10 years ago.
I would have put my money for Hatebreed.
I probably would have looked at you and said I had never heard of Hatebreed, but I had heard of Parkway Drive and I had heard of Stick to Your Guns because it was more of the warped influence because
Okay.
Hatebreed was
Yeah.
not a
See,
warped influence.
I'm not a warped guy. So that's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
other side of the playground.
the other three, Black Dahlia Murder made their couple of appearances at Warped Tour, which is interesting, now that I look back on it, because
That's some
back
heavy
when
shit.
yeah, back when
Yeah.
I was that young, I like to think back then. I was like, yeah, Black Dahlia Murder. I have a couple songs by them, and now I look at my library and I'm like, man, I really got ahead of that curve with them. Like oh,
Some quick Black Dahlia Murder trivia for you guys. Each album cover has a distinct theme. What is that theme?
I couldn't
I,
tell you. I've never really gotten into Black Dahlia Murder. Like I've heard a few songs and I've enjoyed what I've heard, but I've never done a deep dive into them.
It's color.
the color. Oh, they each have. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I'll
yeah,
pull it up
yeah.
on the screen
Aha, yeah,
if you
yeah,
can
yeah.
see it. Like red,
Okay, yeah,
blue.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
that makes
sweet.
sense.
And then
That's really cool.
Spooner for recommendation, throw on Nightbringers and What a Horrible Night, just for a couple songs to kick around.
Okay.
Oh yeah, see that's like well after I was even listening to them. Cuz like I can't say the last time I listened to Black Dahlia Murder. But like, back when I was a spunky junior in high school, I had that chugging. Um but yeah. So Parkway Drive. Yeah, that needs to happen. I don't know if we settled on a location. Y'all are much closer together to each other than either of you are to me. Um, I'm the odd sheep. Um,
Yeah, I
I
think
will say this about the Parkway Drive show, why it's so big this time around. They are bringing their full pyrotechnic extravaganza to the States for the first time. If anybody has seen their documentary, Viva the Underdogs, you get a taste of kind of what it is. Molotov cocktails, throwing it at a big Parkway Drive emblem that catches fire. I tweeted a couple videos. This is going to kick all of the ass. It's going to be up there with Ramstein in terms of pyro.
Shit, I didn't know about all that. Now,
yeah, I'm super fucking excited for it. I cannot wait. I'm definitely gonna be trying to get to
oh
that
my
show.
lord!
Yes, yes. And just on their own merit, Parkway Drive absolutely dominates live. They are incredible. The crowd goes nuts. It is a perfect show. And then just to bring in their full tour production, it's just going to be biblical. I I could shit a brick right now. They're my favorite band, but I am just geeking.
That yeah, no, that's freaking wild. Um, yeah. So see, my options if I go around home are the very first date, Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore. I don't want to go to Baltimore. If
Nobody
it was
does.
in if it was in Silver Springs, that's different. If I was going to oh crap, I can't if I was going to Meriwether Post, shout out Animal Collective. If I was going to Meriwether Post, like yeah, I would totally do that. But they can't do pyro with all those trees. They got to
Right.
go to Baltimore. And I'm not going to Baltimore. I wouldn't even go to freaking. Well, I would go to FedEx. That wouldn't be that bad. That's Landover, Maryland. It's not in DC. Some fun. Hey, fun Washington football team trivia for you guys. They don't play in Washington DC. They play in Landover, Maryland. They're like the Jets and Giants. Even more reason why Virginia shouldn't have to claim them as one of their teams. Anyways, um, so yeah, so it's pretty much Maryland for me. I could go to Charlotte, but at that point, why would I not be meeting up with you guys somewhere? Because if I'm gonna make the drive to Charlotte, I should just make the drive somewhere else. So I don't know if you guys there was a specific date that you guys saw that you were like yes, um, because
Yeah,
I
I
mean
think
I don't. I try to look at sometimes the venues because so I have a friend who was living in Denver for a while, and he has gotten the abilities to see some shows at Red Rocks, and he
oh, I'd love to
tells
see
that
a show
tells
there.
me about that all the time.
Yes.
He got to see some EDM sets there too, which I can only imagine were fucking insane. Um, um, unfortunately, but probably actually fortunately because they probably can't have it there due to environmental hazards. They will not be playing at Red Rocks. Um, but is there what dates were you guys looking at as far as trying to see this just absolutely banger of a concert?
I think for both of us, the closest one is that Chicago show on the
Okay.
25th.
Yep. It's funny on their Instagram they had a typo on that Chicago show. It's the 25th of 25th of 22.
Yeah, yeah, I saw
Ooh.
that. The 25th month. I'm like, wait, what?
A couple
Well,
years from now.
let me take a little gander here. Let's pull up Google Maps
And we
and
got
take.
St. Louis right after that, which
The
wouldn't be terrible for me.
St. Louis could be cool. We could meet up with Josh there.
I
Ooh.
I went to college in that area, so that'd be. I don't want to see any of those people, but hey, that'd be fun.
So it's Wintrust Arena, Chicago, Illinois.
where I believe DePaul and the Chicago Sky play.
Yeah.
Directions from my address, which I'm not going to say out loud.
Probably for the best.
Yes, although it won't be my address for long. They can just harass my. I'm just kidding. I'd never do that. It is a 11-hour drive.
Oh, that's not terrible.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
not bad. And given of which I've made a longer one, driving into Tennessee. It's actually wild to get to Illinois. To get to Chicago would take less time than getting to Nashville, um, from where I live.
we've made worse decisions.
Uh that Tennessee trip, let me tell you, was a doozy. Two and so here, well, we have it up right now, so we'll change this to Dixon, Tennessee.
So that's where they are.
My friend and I drove. Okay, well, it's 10 hours, 11 hours and 40 minutes. We drove there and back in 24 hours.
Oh, no
I
thanks.
I left my mom's house at 3 p.m. on I think it was like a Wednesday, and I returned. I pulled into where I parked at 3 p.m. on Thursday.
No thanks.
Let me tell you, I drove through Nashville the night they tried to burn down the city, the the city hall.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
My friend and I were in my car listening to Freddie Gibbs' album Alfredo for the very first time, and we drive through Nashville, and all of the exits into Nashville are blocked off by police. Nobody's going into the city, nobody's coming out of the city. It was insane. It was fun because it was in like August, June, right after, or not August, June. What the hell?
I
It
mean,
was
there's
in
a
like
month in there. You could. That's all right.
May. It was like in like May, June, like right before slash after the George Floyd stuff. So it was like right then. And we were going out there to do a little rescue mission, and we like just it was crazy. It was also right after Wendy's released their breakfast, and my best friend was like, we have
I
to get
often
Wendy's
associate
breakfast.
those two events together. That's I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wendy's
yeah.
breakfast and social justice. I combine those two frequently myself.
Yeah, so no, but it was right after Wendy's breakfast, and because my friend and I watch Rick and Morty a lot, and Rick and Morty has those stupid Wendy's commercials that are just
Oh yeah.
ridiculous. And he's like, "Yo, we have to try Wendy's breakfast on this trip," and I was like, "All right, yeah, cool." We went to 3 Wendy's because they all had different opening times for breakfast because we were driving through the
Of
night,
course
and then
they did.
we were looking it up, and we were also jumping time zones. So like everything kept changing. So like we're waiting, and we're like I'm like, what time does it open? Because I was driving, and he's like, oh, it's I think 6, 5, maybe about 5:30, and then all of a sudden we're like, all right, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, it's 7. And he was like, no, 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 no. It wasn't. There's no way. It wasn't just 7. And I was like, we jumped time zones, man. It was quite the trip. It's also, let me tell you, spending 20 of 24 hours in a car with one person. By the end of the trip, it's a little testy.
Mhm. Been there. Been there. I'm too old for that shit anymore, but yeah, I've been there.
I tell my family all the time because so we're going back to Vegas. It sounds like in the summer, and I've always told them I would totally be down to make the trip across the country because I would like to drive it, but I don't know if I could do it with. I could do it with like if I had like a girlfriend or a wife, I could probably do it with them, or like one of my sisters, but expand that party to 3 people outside of like the boys, and that's gonna be a rough experience. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a rough experience.
Blast Beach Summer Tour 2022.
Boom. We calling it. I'm a save up all my money from Wawa, and then hey, I have 640 or 600 243 hours of 260 5.5 weeks. I have 5.5 weeks of PTO.
That's good
Um,
math.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I have 5.5 weeks of PTO, so vacation's coming. Vacation's coming. Um, Speaking of vacations and another trip to Vegas for me, I woke up this morning and saw this event drop in Las Vegas, Nevada on October 22nd, 2022, when we were young. Let me tell you, this lineup is just bonkers.
Absolutely bonkers.
Straight bonkers. It is headlined, and personally, like, only one of these I feel like is the proper headline because My Chemical Romance is the proper headline. I love Paramore, but there are far, far bigger bands on this list that should be headlining this concert opposed to Paramore. That's just me personally. I've also never been a big Paramore person. Um, they're not bad, but like A Day to Remember. But first off, Avril Lavigne. Are you telling me Paramore is bigger than Avril Lavigne?
Eh,
No, no way. Avril Lavigne is a pop culture icon.
She's dead.
yeah, I mean, like,
Exactly. Does Paramore have conspiracy theories after them?
I mean that's fair, but Avril Lavigne dropped off the scene for far
That's
longer than
also
Paramore did.
so did Paramore. I don't think they've released anything since like Ain't It Fun?
Yeah,
But
probably.
anyways, we're like those three. That's very interesting. My Chemical Romance, Paramore, Avril Lavigne, right off the bat. But then you start digging a little deeper, and not even deeper, right below it. Bring Me the Horizon, which that is the biggest to this day is the biggest crowd at a Warp Tour set that I've ever seen in my life. Like as I said, people were trying to jump and see over the merch tents to watch them. Um, Taking Back Sunday, The Used,
Used has some bangers.
The Used,
So does
they
Taking
released
Back Sunday.
Taking Back Sunday. Yo, it is like it is so expansive. I never really got into AFI. Um, as I said before we started, Alkaline Trio is playing, which means that Blink 182 can't play as Matt Skiba is the frontman of or one of the frontman of Blink 182 and the frontman of Alkaline Trio. I mean, he could, but I don't think he's going to play Double Duty. Um, a band that I know a lot about but haven't really gotten into, Manchester Orchestra. Like that's pretty dope. Um, I Prevail, Dashboard Confessional, Boys Like Girl. I texted my friend. You have Boys Like Girls, We the Kings, and the Ready Set in 303. Those four right there is my middle school just brought back, thrusted straight into my mind. Check Yes Juliet, which I have actually seen in concert before.
This sounds like a Hot Topic T-shirt sale 10
Oh,
years ago.
seriously. 303, like I have done this. I have seen them at concerts. I have thrown up the hand sign for 303 in person. It's crazy. Um but then you get into some of the nitty-gritty and you've got Silverstein and Dance Gavin Dance and Ice Nine Kills and I
Primo.
Prevail and Motionless in White and Atreyu and Seosin and all Hawthorne Heights. Um, a lot of these bands that you're like, oh, really? Okay. A couple other personal favorites I have on here: Mayday Parade, um, State Champs, 4 Year Strong, and as you like start going through, oh my fucking god, the Wonder Years are on here. Oh, I have to go to this concert. I have to go to this concert.
See, for me, the one that really jumps out to me, other than the obvious My Chemical Romance, Knocked Loose.
Knocked
Yes!
Loose. Yes, Knocked Loose too. Yeah. Senses Fail. Fuck. Jeez. I'm gonna be pissed. Jimmy Eat World. I'm gonna be so pissed because I can't see all these people. Um,
Now, I wish they would have had Good Charlotte and Sum 41 on this, because then I would have got
yeah,
bricked up.
Yeah,
that would have been freaking crazy. The All American Rejects. Um, and I can tell you right now, Sleeping with Sirens and Pierce the Veil will share a stage 100%. Like
Yeah.
that will happen 100%. But so then you get into this. So like I'm looking at this as a really big like, and apparently this like the When We Were Young thing has happened before. They've done this in the past. They did it in 2017, I believe. If I When We Were Young Fest. Um, it's definitely happened before. Um, as I sip my tea.
It's incredible. Some
Yeah,
of these have expanded in some pretty solid headliners in their own regard. Like Motionless in White can fill a not a stadium, but they can fill
uh,
an arena.
Yeah.
a respectable venue. Because
Yeah.
it's wild. Not too long ago, I was watching them be the very first opener for Lamb of God and Slipknot, and like
Mm.
the original. Um, but like right here in 2017, they did this, and it was a 2-day event, and they didn't even have half.
Ooh.
Um, it was AFI, Alkaline Trio, Cage the Elephant, Descendants, Fiddlar, Morrissey was the headliner, Joyce Manor, Saves the Day, um, yeah, Turnstile,
Yeah.
Oh.
Taking Back Sunday was on it as well. So they've done this festival before, but it's very interesting to look at just the sheer amount they have this time.
Another
Um,
name I see on this year's rendition, Palais Royale. If you guys aren't familiar,
Hmm.
very underrated
yeah,
guy. I think he's got a phenomenal voice. A little bit niche. Anybody else out
yeah,
there have seen the movie American Satan or have seen the show Paradise City? It
I
follows yep. It follows a fictional band, the Relentless. It's which is fronted by Black Veil Brides lead singer Andy
Ooh.
Biersnack. Yep,
Who will
and
also be at this festival.
yes, and the lead singer of Play Royale is the vocalist of the Relentless. So it's
Boom.
not Andy Biersnack's voice; it's this guy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They do a lot of makeup, right?
Which one?
Or
Play
Play
Royale,
Royale.
I believe
Or
so.
yeah, I think as Black Veil Brides has, they have toned it back quite a bit. Because do you remember like OG Black Veil Brides? They
Yeah.
were legitimately pissed. They were legitimately
Heavier
pissed.
Molly Crew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Um,
have you heard the conspiracy that the Andy Biersnack is Nikki Sixx's son?
that's hysterical.
I have
That's
heard that.
hysterical.
Yes.
My girlfriend pointed that out to me because she said, like, remember, he used to go by Andy Six.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Um, so yeah, I look at this. I look at this whole thing right away, and I can tell you, in the back of my mind, one of the stages, and I would put money down on this. One of the stages is going to be state champs, 4 year strong, neck deep, Mayday Parade. The story so far. They might throw Taking Back Sunday on this stage. I'm not going to take that out of the question. The All American Rejects, and then I would say you close it with The Day to Remember. Um,
Yeah.
a very, very heavy. Oh, and the Wonder Years. And the Wonder Years. I forgot about them. A very, very, very pop punk, easy core, heavy day that honestly, that's where I would spend my whole freaking day. As much as I would love to see some of these other dudes, like that would be banger after banger for me because as I've established on this pod, I'm a sad boy at heart. The roots go deep and pop punk just sings to my soul.
Yeah.
And it has been a mainstay for me from freaking the first time I heard All the Small Things. So
Hey, work sucks.
I
I
know every freaking time I clock in, but nobody's leaving me roses by the stairs. Ugh, yes. So yeah, When We Were Young, 2022, October 22nd, Las Vegas Fairgrounds. I just got to figure out how to get out there because it sounds like tickets are going to start at $20. They go on sale this Friday.
this
Um,
Friday. All right.
yeah. So, October, let's put them on sale in January, January 21st. so they can sell out 4 months beforehand, and then people can scalp them to obscene prices.
Yep.
Um, because they're not going to have enough tickets. I can already tell you that. So yeah, very interesting. I don't know. Did we have an episode after I got back from Vegas? I don't think we have
I
yet.
don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. So something very interesting I learned. The the demographics in Vegas are very interesting. First off, obviously, a lot of white people. The second, like, most popular demographic is at like almost a tie between the Asian demographic and Hawaiians. And my sister, who is a teacher in Hawaii right now, she's doing her master's degree and teaches at a Catholic school in Hawaii. Um, she was telling me that Las Vegas is considered the ninth island of Hawaii.
What?
Yes,
Interesting.
yes,
All right.
because of how because think about it, it's pretty much the same. One, you're going west to east, so you get that tailwind. It pretty much takes the same amount of time for her to get from Hawaii to Las Vegas as it did my family to get to from Virginia to Las Vegas.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
it's not a bad flight. That's not a bad flight. So it's like, California's there, but it's like the closest like major U.S. attraction to the islands, and Vegas is pretty much a destination for almost, and I won't say almost everybody, but like I would say a good majority of people in the United States. Like you can have a conversation at one point in your life. You're like, yeah, would you go to Vegas? Yeah, no, I'd maybe try my hand at it. Why not? Like, yeah, I'd go if I had the opportunity. I've had plenty of opportunities, and it's fun as hell. Go do it. It's great. You don't even have to gamble, and you will have a fantastic time. I promise you. I
True.
promise you. What you do? People talk about the drinks, and that's the thing. Like, you can only get drinks when you're free drinks when you're gambling, and even then they don't come around enough. But what you do? You get there, you land, you find yourself a place on the strip called Fat Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up, my cup. I have my cup.
There's a ton of great places to eat on the strip. Ton of them.
Oh, you don't eat anything here. Fat Tuesdays, all up and down the strip. This was the one that I was able to fit on the plane with me. This was not my yard dog, which was this tall, 32 ounces. That is what induced me buying the signed Bob Gracie jersey. It is a frozen alcohol shop. You go at the
Ah,
beginning of the week and you buy one of these. And then the rest of the week you go back up and down the strip and you get refill prices.
Okay.
all
No,
right.
that's a hustle. That's a good hustle.
Because you can walk in public with alcohol outside
Open
in Las
carry.
Vegas. It's
Yep.
amazing. Um, and yeah, and like honestly, like think about that. A 32-ounce frozen alcoholic beverage. And they're like they want you to come back, but that thing's getting you lit. Like, as I said, I had a full 32, and that induced the, I would say, most questionable but most legendary purchase of my life, and that was dropping some money on a signed Bob Gracie jersey for the hell of it, because it was Black Friday, and I looked at this man and believed him when he said, "Hey, it's our Black Friday sale, $200 off." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then we went back at Christmas, and they were like, "Yeah, it's our Christmas sale, $200 off." And I was like, it's always $200 off. I see now." Um,
That's how they get you.
that's how they get you. That's how they get you. Um, yeah, no, it's awesome out there. We went and saw Michael Jackson's one. Fantastic show. I really pushed hard for that because we saw the Beatles Love the year before, or 2 years before. They weren't doing any shows in 2020, as would be expected. Um, but yeah, we saw Michael Jackson's one. Fantastic show. Cirque du Soleil puts on fantastic performances, no matter what it is. And I did listen to some albums on the way. I listened, you guys talking about Gojira. I listened to their newest album on the way, and it was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Um, but yeah, the trip to Vegas was great. Unfortunately, it's been pretty much a month since I've been there now, and work's undone everything for that vacation. So It's looking like it's time for me to put another one in. With that 263 hours. Um, but yeah, was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on?
Actually, I had a question. I remember Spoon saying
Hmm.
he wasn't like he never fell full face first into Slayer, and I gave you a couple recommendations. Did you check those out yet?
I have not,
Okay,
unfortunately. I will.
okay,
I will,
still
but I
getting
haven't yet.
okay. Now I'll follow that up with: do either of you have like a staple in the metal industry, like an OG that you know gets a lot of respect, but like you just haven't gotten yet off the top of your head?
Oh yeah, there's too many.
Because I was gonna make try and see if I couldn't make a recommendation for you to ease your palate into it and go, okay, yep, I'm feeling this now.
Oh yeah, there's too many. And we touched on this in the Metallica episode, because
I'm drinking their whiskey.
my metal background is very, very interesting. I don't know if you remember if I've told you this, Larry. Do you know my introduction to Metallica?
I don't think I do. Was it?
S&M Volume 1.
Now I remember the episode.
Yes. Yes. S&M Volume 1 was my first introduction to Metallica. So I had a very, very, very interesting, like, intro to the genre, because I remember listening to that and being like, "Yeah, this is dope. Um, this isn't quite metal.
No.
I'm a bit confused. like, like, what is this?" So there's a lot of artists. So like you say, I've listened to Slayer before,
Hmm.
but even further than that, like I have never heard a note of Anthrax.
Okay, all right, we're gonna start with Anthrax. Perfect. All righty. Now there's two schools of thought on Anthrax. There's John Bush Anthrax, and then there's their OG Joey Belladonna. I'm gonna give you John Bush Anthrax song only,
Only.
and then also do Nobody Knows. It honestly it sounds completely different than the rest of their catalog. It's like its own section, but I think it's awesome. It's fast. It's not overly heavy. It's catchy. It's good shit. John Bush Anthrax is awesome.
Okay. Okay. Sweet. Sweet. I will definitely. I'll be giving that a listen. And this is actually something very interesting that I would love to do for the future. Is just like be getting like the end of the episodes, just doing some of these like artists that
Classic
you don't know.
recommendations. Yep.
Yes. Boom. Boom. And this is the beauty of things like this, and something that I've loved about this show is it makes you listen to more music and it broadens your horizons, and you never know what rabbit holes you're going to go down. Because my that's one of my favorite things about hip hop is the amount of sampling, because I'm kind of I'm a production side guy of like looking deep into that and seeing all the different songs that you can find within that one song that you're like, oh, I really like this, and then you go back and you listen to the original song and you can hear the entire thing. It opens, like, the amount of times I've gone from like Kanye to Curtis Mayfield, and I'm like, yo, this Curtis Mayfield's slapping right now. Um, and I encourage anybody, go back and listen to some freaking Curtis Mayfield, because Move On Up will get you grooving. Um, like, oh my gosh. Anyways, but the sample game, just like getting those references from somebody that like has the information,
Hmm.
because that's and the same thing. It's the same thing with sampling in hip hop. Like the producers have listened to so much that they're like, yo, this is a good little feature right here. I'm gonna slice that up, copy it, paste it, loop it. All right, here we go. This is fire. Um, one of my songs that I've been listening to heavily over the past week and a half, "Surround Sound" by JID, has this amazing Aretha Franklin feature that I'm just like, oh my god, incredible. Um, so yeah, thank you, and that'll be fantastic. And I will let you know how those go. Only and what was
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I was thinking need to know. Only and nobody knows. All right. Was there anything you wanted to touch on, Spoon, before we signed off?
No, I think we've covered everything that I had.
All right. So as I said, I will be moving into an apartment soon. That has been one of the biggest struggles right now for me personally, just given my work schedule and everything else that's going on, that I've not had a consistent place. I'm literally recording and have everything set up right now on this little foldable card table that I would normally be doing puzzles and various Lego projects on, because I don't have my desk. Um, so February 18th, be tuned in for that. But we would definitely. Oh my gosh, it's the 18th today. It's a month away.
Hmm.
Also my mom's birthday. Um, so, but we all. I intend 100% to do everything in my power to not let work get the best of me, and get into another recording for at least, at the very minimum, one more episode before then. And I will put my hand down on that, on my chest, because I'm ready. I want to. We're ready to get this thing rolling. We're ready to get this thing going. And hopefully, after I move in, if I do find a new job, it'll make things so much easier,
Hmm.
because my schedule is a hindrance at the moment.
I
A
mean,
very big. Yeah,
yours isn't the only
I'm
one.
not gonna.
Fucking a
I'm
hindrance
not gonna
too.
lie, Spoon. Though I'm not gonna lie, Spoon. If I didn't work the afternoons, it would be a lot easier to plan shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and this is, although something that I, part of my hellfire and brimstone with work earlier is they're trying to push me back on nights, and I'm like, I got off of those, rightfully so. I interviewed. I made it through the process. I thought I was past that. No, 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 no. My body's not built for that no more. I can't do that. I'm sorry. There's too many health problems going on. I don't intend on pushing another kidney stone out because I got a mainline caffeine.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wawa's responsible for at least two, if not more. Um.
Oh.
Anyways, anyways. Um. So yeah, new job search incoming. I'm really gonna try to sit down and really, uh, unfortunately, due to some unfortunate circumstance, somebody died in our area, but a local radio job just happened to pop up, and I might see what is going on with that. It's very awful, but the dude was really old. Um,
Rest in peace. I got
Rest in peace.
references.
No, 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 no. Rest in peace. He was really respected in our community. Great guy, but like it's a very, very well-known radio station, and like those opportunities don't come up very often. So I mean, I'm just saying it's something that I'm just like in the back of my head. I'm just like, as much as I'm like, hey, I respect, man. I need a job. I'm
shoot your
sorry.
shoot your
I
shot.
need to make money. I need to make money. Because this Wawa salary ain't doing it. I'm sorry. But yes, this has been another episode of Blast Beats. Substantial substance. I feel like that's a really good album, or a really good episode title. Substantial substance. That was great. But yes, my name has been Zach, one of the hosts for this wonderful show that we do. Hope you all have a fantastic week. As I said, I have my wonderful co-hosts here, Chris, Spoon. Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Spoonful of Sport, or tweeting on the Blast Beats Twitter account at ATB_Blast Larry,
And
you want
then
to tell them where they can find you?
At Twitter, at Radical Larry 007. You can also find me on the Blast Beats Twitter page. Interact, whatever. Tell us what you're listening to, all of it. I'd love to hear it. I work from home. I got shit to do all day.
Same man.
Hit me up.
oh,
Hit me up. I'd love to hear it.
soon, guys. I'm gonna be in that boat soon. You can find me on Twitter at Zachner, ZACHKNERR. Silent K's are killers. Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been great. Stay Gucci, everybody. We'll see y'all very, 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 very soon. And yeah, rock on.
Listen to Slayer.